If there's anything that I've learned from 2020 in this pandemic, it's probably that I should start looking into having multiple streams of income. But when I really think about it, this is probably the only time I'll have to binge Netflix and not feel guilty about it. So I think I'm actually gonna start with an episode of Friends since I can't actually go out and see my friends and hang out with them. I should probably look into registering a company or how it works. Oh. Okay, let me actually look into this. These notes I'm taking are not even making sense, to be honest, because I don't even know. Oh, okay. Gonna try again. Okay, I guess it's time for a break after 5 minutes of trying to write down what I think is how to start a company. Let me scroll through Instagram. Wow, this feed is definitely boring. I mean, it was more exciting when I couldn't have my phone at work and the only time I would get to check my phone was during my lunch, and it would seem like everybody else was having fun without me. But now it just seems boring. I mean, I refresh my feed 10 times every 20 minutes and it's literally the same stuff. But you know what? At least I'm not making lame TikToks, so I can give myself a pat on the back for doing the bare minimum, I guess. Okay, for real though, I should actually start looking into this, honestly. Okay, an incorporation, is that what I want? What is this? Trade name, annual returns, directors, shares? Oh my, this is so overwhelming. You know what? I need a nap. I'm gonna take a nap. I know that if I take a nap, then maybe I'll have better ideas when I wake up. That way I have enough time to really think about how to register this company and what I really want. Let me just push it again. Don't you ever just wish you had a genie that could register your company for you, or you could just wave a magic wand, call it Wizards of Waverly Places, and you'll have your company registered? Don't we all? Which is why I'll be your magic wand today. I have a new video for you, and it is going to be talking about the basics of registering your company, especially in Alberta, because I'm in Alberta, I'm an Albertan. So that is basically what I'm going to be talking about. If you guys have never been here before, my name is Toden, and if you have, thank you for coming back. Even though this video doesn't interest you and you're just girl, I'm not even there yet, I feel your pain, which is why I am doing this video. I'm going to try to make this video as easy as possible. You might have to watch it twice to get a gist of it, because I feel like registering your company sounds like a new language. It sounds so complicated, but once you actually get to it and start doing all the paperwork and really understanding what you're doing, it's not as complicated as it sounds. Okay, let's get to it. So what are the different ways that you can register your company? Like I said, this video is going to be touching on the basics, nothing too complicated, because I don't want this video to be too long. The different ways that you can basically register your company is you can do it as a sole proprietorship or a trade name, which basically means that you're going to be owning the company by yourself, or you can do it as a partnership, which means that you are partnering up with someone and you guys are going to be owning the company together. The other thing you can do is that you can register your company as an incorporated company, which means that there is way more protection on that than the trade name. I'm going to be talking about this later on, and I'll try to lay out the differences for you so that you can really understand what you're getting yourself into before you do. And like I always say in these videos, it's best to always contact someone like a lawyer, someone who's registered businesses for other people, or even an accountant for more information and to really get to know how to do it. This video, again, I just want to reiterate it, it's going to be the basics for you to understand what you're doing before you actually go out and do it. You can incorporate your company, and that is better than the trade name, but it also has more responsibilities than the trade name. And then the last way that you can do it is to have a non-for-profit organization. But the thing is that the DMVs cannot register a company that is a non-for-profit organization. You have to actually do your research and submit the information to Edmonton, because Edmonton is the place that does it. All the DMV can do for a non-for-profit organization is that they can search the name for you, and they can tell you whether or not the name is available, and they can reserve the name for you at a fee, at a cost to you. The first one is the sole proprietorship or a trade name. This one is the simplest one to do, because It's so basic. All you need to do is have your driver's license, have the forms filled out, and go into the DMV or a registry. I'm just gonna call it a registry moving on. So fill it out, go to the registry. What you can do is that you can download the form on Chrome. It's better if you do it on Chrome because Safari for some reason always has problems. Like if you want to download forms, it's always telling you need it Flash, you need this and it. Just do it on Chrome. Take it to the registry with your driver's license and they will process it for you. So they can usually do it within the same day if they're not busy, but if the line is lined up to the door, obviously the priority is the people who are lined up. So they have to take care of those people first, and then they do the documents as they come. So first come, first serve. You can pay to expedite it, but it is a little pricey. For the trade name, all you need to do is have a name, go in there, they'll search the company. It's cheaper if you search it and do it at the same time as opposed to if you search it and you want to go think on it. If you just search it and go think on it, they do charge an extra fee to just search it. But if you search it and also do a trade name at the same time, it comes in the fee, and different registries charge different fees for it. So you have to kind of look into the registry you're going into and see how much that they're charging for it. Go into the registry with your driver's license, give them the name you want. They will search it in their system, and they'll also search it federally, and they'll let you know if someone else has the name or a name that's similar, so that way you can know whether or not you want to proceed with that name. The reason that they're doing this is because sometimes, say a company has a bad credit or like filed for bankruptcy. I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying specifics, but say that was the case, then if your name is similar to the company, someone else might just be like, wait, is that the same person? And all of a sudden, because of that, it just causes so much confusion. So that's why they always recommend that if that name that you want is already taken, that you make modifications to your name and use it. But if it's for a trade name, you can still choose that name. It's up to you, but it's not advisable. The second one is to have a partnership. A partnership just means between two people, and that way you guys come to the registry and you fill out the information. It's literally the same thing as a trade name, but it's just a partnership. And then the third one is an incorporated company. Okay, this is where I need your ears, because this one is the one that is a little more complicated and has a lot more rules and regulations, and if you make mistakes, it's on you and you are going to pay to fix it. All right, okay, let's get into it. You can incorporate your company in two different ways. You can incorporate it as an Alberta reservation or a federal reservation. It's always it's not recommended because the people at the DMV/registry cannot tell you what to do with your company because it's literally your company. But if you register a company in Alberta, then you do your annual return in Alberta. But if you do it federally, then you might have to do more steps to have it done in Alberta. It's just simpler if you do it as an Alberta reservation. So there are two different ways that you can do it. The first way you can do it is as a numbered company, and the second way you can do it is as a named company. Under a numbered company, it just gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Alberta LTD, Alberta Inc. There are about 6 different versions of it. You can have LTD Limited, you can have Inc. Incorporated, you can have Corporation CORP dot. So there are like 6 main ones that show up on the form that you can choose from, and you just have to choose one out of the 6 because you can't have more than one. So say I want to have my company as a numbered company. Download the form on Google Chrome, start filling out the form. Then you start going through the forms and you notice that it's asking for things like classes of shares, share structure. Are there any restrictions on the company, maximum and minimum number of directors? These are the things that you have to go home and do. They do have kits at the registries that you can buy and like go through and use that as a guide to help you out. You can also pay a lawyer and accountant to help you out, or you can Google it. Sometimes people just Google it and they find like samples or blogs that other people have made that have just made it easier, and they just go based on that model. However, here comes the problem. If you say go by whatever it is that you fill out in that application and you realize you made a mistake after the company is already incorporated, they cannot fix that for you without a fee. They have to charge a fee to fix it for you, because when you came in, you filled out the form saying that this is the declaration of what I'm doing and I'm certain and this is what I want. So they will charge you for it. So that's why it's best to consult someone like a lawyer or an accountant just to make sure that you're doing the paperwork right. And then you fill out that application. It's about, I think it's about like 4 to 6 pages. It looks complicated, but trust me, it's not that complicated. Fill out the form. You have to fill out every single page of the form. You can't just fill out the first page and give it to them. Fill it out completely because you don't want to be standing back in line, okay? Fill the form out completely and give it to them. This is for the numbered company, right? Give it to them. It takes them about 3 to 5 business days. And when you come back to pick up your document, you go through your information, make sure everything is right in that document. Your addresses are right. Your postal code is correct. Go through your paperwork, please. Please go through your paperwork and make sure everything is right, because if there is a mistake at that point, they can still go in and fix it. And then, you know, they have to carry that responsibility because it's on them. But you do also have to make sure that the information is right on your end for them to enter into the computer, okay? So yeah, get that done. And then you have an incorporated company that is a numbered company. Now I'm going to talk about the name company. The name company is a little more work, so it's just one extra step. So for the name company, there is something called a nuance, which is a name search and a reservation of the company. They have to do this for every single company, and this name search is only good for 90 days. After the 90-day mark, if you don't incorporate a company, that name search is null and void and you have to pay and do another one. So be decisive. You have 90 days to figure it out. You do a name search. They do the name search and they let you know, same thing, if that name is available or not. If the name's available, then they tell you, okay, yes, we can incorporate this company for you. If the name is not available, they let you know as well and say, hey, do you want to go back and think about other names or add something to it? They give you your paperwork back and then you can go and think on it. They charge a fee for that reservation and they have to do the reservation. They cannot register a company, an incorporated company, without doing a name search. So that comes with the whole deal. So you do that and then they give you the same paperwork. It's literally the same paperwork for the name company and the number company. The only difference is that the name company has one extra step to it and the number company just has the paperwork. So they give you the paperwork for the name company, you fill out the name in the paperwork, and then same thing, you give it to them 3 to 5 business days and they get it done for you. Now here is where things get different. So say I go in and I get a number company, but what I really wanted was a name company. But because I was rushing, I was trying to get things done. Like, I just want to have this done and get it over with. Well, here's the thing. If you get your company done as a number company and then you change your mind later on that, okay, I no longer want a number company, I want a name company, they will charge you for a name search and a reservation, as well as charging you for an amendment to the company. So make sure that when you are choosing a number company, which is randomly generated, that you're okay that it is a number company. You wouldn't rather just spend the extra $50-something and just register your company as a name, as opposed to doing it now and then regretting it later. Just make sure you're like pretty decisive about it, because the more indecisive you are, the more money you're gonna pay. That's pretty much it for the name company and the number company. So similar things, the only difference is that one has a name search and a name reservation. Another section of incorporated companies is people who are professionals. So people like lawyers, doctors, dentists, chiropractors, engineers. If you do have any of these titles under your name and you wanted to use a name that included like Todens Engineering Incorporated or something like that, you would have to get permission from the governing body of your school to use that name. Say it's like Total Engineering Services Inc. and I wanted to use the word engineering, I would need to get permission from APEGA, which is the governing body of that job title, to be able to use that name. If you don't have the approval from the governing body, you cannot use that name, and there is nothing that the DMV can do for you to be able to use that name. You have to have those approvals that go with that paperwork, just to make sure that the people that are using those names are credible people and they're bondable. That's the only reason I can think why they wouldn't let you use the name, because you know, you go to school for 4 years and then you're starting your company and you know, you did all this hard work. You don't want someone just like using the name. I mean, if I can just go in, and I don't have an engineering degree, but if I can just go in and be like Total Engineering Services, and then I go and screw up someone's work, it's like, how can they even hold me accountable if I don't even have the education for it? I think it's all about accountability. So if you have a governing body, get a letter from a governing body and give it to them. You're making the DMV's life easier because you have all your documents. And on top of that, you don't have to come back like 10 times and stand in the line and just hate everyone. Have you guys seen that movie? I think it's called Zootopia. They had that Every time I think about this, I think it's so funny. They have that section where like the animal goes to the DMV, and it's like sloths at the DMV, and by the time they're done their whole like thing at the DMV, they come out, it's like nighttime. I cracked up. That was funny. If you don't want that to be you, just get all your paperwork together. As well, you can also call and ask them what you need to bring in and like really verify over the phone. Tell them specifically what you want and what you need, as opposed to just being like, hey, can I just come in and register a company? It's like, yeah, you can come in and register a company, and then you go there and you realize you don't have all the documents that you need. So be as specific as possible so that you have all the pieces to the puzzle and you can put it together yourself before you even go down there. And yeah, just making your life easier, their life easier, making everything more efficient. Also, under the incorporated companies, there's something called an annual return. An annual return is a term for renewing your company every year. This is just something that you're putting into the corporate registry saying that, hey, my company is still active and I'm still using this company. It's like having a car and having to renew it every year. Same thing. So for the annual return, you always have to file it every year around the time that you first incorporated your company. So say if I incorporated my company in March, I can go there in March and file an annual return, or I could even go a month early and file my annual return for March. So they can do them as early as a month before. You don't have to do this for a trade name, aka sole proprietorship, and you don't have to do this for partnership companies. But once your company is an incorporated company, you have to do this every single year. Failure to do so after 2 years and something, you get your company dissolved. What does that mean? A dissolving of a company means that the company is no longer active. It's been struck. They are no longer performing operational activities under the company. So that means the company is no longer in service. So the government just cancels the company for you. The only thing about that is that if the government was to cancel your company for you and you say, oh, my company is not canceled, I still have this company, I want to go and get it done. Well, you can go get it done. It's called a revival. So reviving the company because it's been struck, dead, dissolved, whatever you want to call it, right? But what had happened was, the thing about that is that revivals cost over $300. You'd rather pay like 80 something dollars for an annual return and just renew it every year that you know that you're doing the company, or would you rather just procrastinate and be like, I'll do it next year, I'll do it, and all of a sudden now you're missing 3 years. So you pay $300+ for a revival, and then on top of that you have to pay for the annual returns that you're missing. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. So make sure you're on top of your annual returns, because you don't want to pay extra, because you will have to pay extra if you're missing over like 2 years. And I'm not sure exactly how many months there is to it, but anything over 2 years, like you're already putting yourself in a dead zone. So get it done ASAP. With annual returns as well, this is the perfect time for you if you want to add a shareholder, you want to change a shareholder, you want to add a director, you want to change a director in your company. These are the times for you to do it, because it costs less if you're doing everything all together, as opposed to, say I file my annual return for my company today and I'm like, okay, done, bus B, and I leave and I realize, like, say 3 weeks later, I don't really like this shareholder. I don't really want them to have 50% of my shares, or I don't want this person to be a director. And I'm like, all right, let me go to the registry and take them out. If I go to the registry to take them out, they're going to charge me extra. So it's easier for me to do it at the time where I'm doing a service like an annual return or whatever, to do everything all together, as opposed to go do the annual return and then realize 3 weeks later that maybe I don't really want my brother there. Maybe I don't want him. So I'm just using these as examples so you guys can understand where I'm coming from and how to navigate through it, and basically the risks that you're taking if you're doing things like that. So same thing if you're doing classes of shares and making a share structure, make sure that everything is done at the time of incorporation, because failure to do so, again, is going to cost you money, unless you have that kind of money to spend, for which send it my way, I will gladly take it. But if you don't, just make sure everything is done correctly at that time. So the last thing I'm going to be talking about under these basics are non-for-profit organizations. So for non-for-profit organizations, all you can do is go into the DMV/registry and get that name searched and reserved and pay for it, and then send the paperwork to a corporate registry that can process non-for-profit organizations, because the ones in the city here in Calgary don't seem to do for-profit organizations. So your best bet is to Google where does non-for-profit organizations get your stuff reserved, fill out the paperwork if there is, which usually there is, and send it up to them. I'm not exactly sure what the timeline of that one is, but I wouldn't expect it taking anything more than 3 months. I don't think so. I really don't think so. All the other types of companies that I mentioned, you guys just have to go in with your driver's license. I always recommend people have 2 pieces of ID, just because I'm always paranoid that like I'll have one ID and it'll be expired, honestly. So just go in with 2, because you don't want to be standing in that line. Sometimes that line can be hella long. So go in with 2 in case one is expired, then you have the other one. Or, you know, you can go in with one ID and then you realize, oh no, my ID is expired, or oh no, my ID is expiring. So it's always best to go with 2 IDs. That way, if one is expired or expiring, they can use your other one. So IDs meaning photo identification, not just like your student ID. They can't take that. That's not a government issued identification. It has to be a government issued identification. So that is pretty much it for this video. I hope I made this as easy as possible and as digestible as possible. I really did try. If you guys like this video, if you know a bus babe or a bus man who would need this video, toss this video their way. I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and I will definitely see you in my next one. Bye!